In the small town of Ridgefield, nestled amidst rolling hills and dense forests, a young woman named Emily found herself drawn to an abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the town. Rumors floated through the town about the estate being haunted, but Emily was undeterred by such tales. She was a thrill seeker, always searching for the next adventure to feed her appetite for mystery and excitement. One chilly autumn evening, Emily decided to explore the mansion. The moon was shrouded by thick clouds, casting an eerie glow over the overgrown gardens and crumbling facades of the once grand building. As she approached the mansion's grand entrance, a sudden gust of wind seemed to whisper her name, sending shivers down her spine. Ignoring the creeping sense of unease that settled in her chest, Emily pushed open the creaking door and stepped into the darkness within. The air was heavy with must and decay, the only sound her own footsteps echoing through the empty halls. As she wandered deeper into the mansion, Emily came across a grand ballroom, its walls covered in faded wallpaper and its once luxurious chandeliers now reduced to tangles of cobwebs. In the center of the room stood an ornate mirror, its surface clouded with age. Emily approached the mirror, her reflection shimmering faintly in the dim light. But as she gazed into the glass, a sudden wave of dizziness washed over her, and the room began to spin. Before she could react, darkness swallowed her whole, dragging her into an abyss of swirling shadows. When Emily opened her eyes, she found herself in a strange and disorienting place. The air was thick with an otherworldly chill, and the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As she struggled to her feet, a voice echoed through the darkness, chilling her to the core. "You shouldn't have come here, Emily," the voice whispered, its tone icy and mocking. "This is not a place for the living." Emily's heart raced as she scanned her surroundings, searching for the source of the voice. But all she could see was an endless expanse of darkness, broken only by flickering shadows that danced across the walls like specters. With trembling hands, Emily reached into her pocket and retrieved her phone, the soft glow of the screen offering some small comfort in the oppressive darkness. As she navigated the unfamiliar terrain, she stumbled upon a series of strange and cryptic symbols etched into the walls, their meaning lost to her. Desperate for answers, Emily pressed on, each step bringing her deeper into the heart of the mysterious realm. But as she rounded a corner, she stumbled upon a horrifying sight that made her blood run cold. Before her stood a figure cloaked in shadow, its features obscured by darkness. As Emily drew closer, she realized with a sickening jolt that the figure bore a striking resemblance to Mr. Incredible, the beloved superhero from her childhood. But this was no hero. This was a twisted and malevolent version of the once noble character. Its eyes glowed with a sickly light, and its smile twisted into a snarl that sent a shiver down Emily's spine. "You are trespassing in my domain, Emily," the figure hissed, its voice a grotesque parody of the hero's usual booming tones. "You will pay the price for your curiosity." With a sudden burst of speed, the figure lunged at Emily, its clawed hands reaching for her throat. Emily stumbled backward, her heart pounding in her chest as she searched for an escape route. But the figure was relentless, its gaze fixed on her with an unblinking intensity that filled her with dread. Just as all hope seemed lost, a flash of light erupted from the shadows, illuminating the figure in a blinding brilliance. As the light receded, Emily saw with astonishment that the figure had transformed, its twisted form melting away to reveal a man she thought she recognized. "Emily, you must leave this place at once," the man said, his voice gentle and kind. "You have stumbled into a realm of darkness and despair." and you are in grave danger." Confusion clouded Emily's mind as she tried to make sense of the man's words. Who was he, and why did he seem so familiar to her? But before she could form a response, the mansion around them shuddered, its walls groaning with an otherworldly agony. Shadows writhed and twisted, coalescing into a monstrous form that loomed over them with fangs bared and claws outstretched. With a roar that rattled the very foundations of the mansion, the shadowy creature launched itself at Emily and the man, its jaws snapping hungrily at their heels. But before it could close the distance, the man raised his hand and uttered a single word that echoed through the darkness like a thunderclap. "Sanctuary." In an instant, the mansion around them dissolved into a whirlwind of shimmering light, carrying Emily and the man away from the clutches of the shadowy beast. When the brilliance faded, they found themselves back in the grand ballroom, the mirror before them now glowing with a warm and inviting light. As Emily turned to thank the man for saving her, she gasped in astonishment. Standing before her was none other than her childhood hero, Mr. Incredible. But this time, there was no hint of darkness or malevolence in his eyes, only kindness and compassion. "You have shown great courage and resilience, Emily," Mr. Incredible said, his voice filled with pride. "You have faced your fears and overcome the darkness that sought to consume you. Remember, true strength comes from within, and you have proven yourself to be a hero in your own right." With a final nod, Mr. Incredible stepped back into the mirror, his form shimmering and fading until he was nothing more than a flickering reflection in the glass. As Emily stood in the now silent ballroom, the events of the night replaying in her mind, she felt a sense of peace and wonder wash over her. She had touched the edge of the unknown and emerged stronger for it, her spirit emboldened by the mysteries she had faced. And as she turned to leave the mansion behind, the memory of Mr. Incredible's words echoed in her heart, filling her with a newfound sense of purpose and courage. For she knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, she would face them with unwavering resolve and unshakable faith in the power of her own inner strength.